Welcome back to Schoberg Flynn Arena at the campus of St. Thomas Academy. We're ready to start Game 2 of our slate at the Twin Cities Thanksgiving Tip-Off. I'm Mike Peden, he is Alex Nagel. We've got a pair of teams we've never seen before. Alex joked about how I like to get you out of the comfort zone. Well, that's going to be the case today. The Visitation Blazers.
I tell you what, I'm
Rockets.
still very interested in learning more about these teams, seeing their style, seeing what they do. We know Rockford finished 15-5 this last season, lost in the section semifinal, so that's a team that's got a lot to prove. Visitation, on the other hand, that's a team we're probably just going to have to find more about as this season progresses.
One thing we can tell you is Visitation, led by a familiar face in coaching, Faith Johnson-Patterson, in her second season with the Blazers, and I'm good buddies, or I have a good rapport with the Slaywins. It might take me a minute to get that down, and they said what Faith has done to revitalize the program is immense. We know her track record, and Faith was saying, I don't need another shot. She's got 8 state tournament titles at North and De La Salle, so she doesn't have anything to prove, but basketball isn't quite the same when Faith Johnson-Patterson is not on the sidelines.
And it's definitely good to see her back on the sidelines where she belongs, and she can do a lot of good things with this Visitation program for sure.
She did that at North, winning 5 state titles there, 3 at De La Salle, coached at Eden Prairie for a couple of years, and back at it with Visitation.
Yep.
Here are the starters for the two schools. For Visitation, it's Lauren Sexton, Ellen Slaywin, Samantha Wills, Caroline Fenlon, and Catherine Bryan. For Rockford, it's Emma Sather, Aaliyah Robrin, Kasia Cady, Michaela Gronke, and Julia Houghton. And that's about all I can tell you with this matchup. I haven't seen these two. Visitation, of course, gets some coverage through Town Square Television, and Visitation probably would win for shortest distance traveled.
Well,
because
that's how it says. I wasn't aware that they were just right down the road here. They're practically
they're neighbors,
sister brother schools here with St. Thomas Academy. So that was a new one on me. So I'm sure they feel right at home here.
It's a home game of sorts for Visitation because they have their own gym. Visitation in 3A, Rockford in 2A were underway, and Samantha Wills scores a layup off the opening tip.
A lot of height there with Samantha Wills for sure.
Wills got some press from Prep Girls Hoops Junior All-Star, so they've tabbed number 24 as a player to watch for the Blazers. She averaged 11 points and 7 rebounds per game last year. Robin tried to go up. Bryan with the denial.
Julia Houghton down there in the right corner. Thought she was going to shoot the ball, then at the last second thought against it. Got away with possible traveling call there.
Visitation, they're in the same section as De La Salle and Como Park, so they're going to have a tough assignment as far as postseason play is concerned. Rockford in Section 5 in the Wright County Conference, so we're getting to see some teams from the right today. Visitation with the early 2-0 lead. And I don't know what will happen today, but for Visitation, this has got to be a cool thing, getting a chance to play at their brother school. They have their own floor, so they don't need to come here for home games, but to get a chance to play at STA, I'm sure they'll remember this, and Samantha Wills is off to a strong start with the rebound and the putback. Rockford, led by Ryan Martin, previously coached at Orono. And that is Wills. Samantha Wills leaving a mark early. Slaywin. I may have to talk to her dad who's next to us because that name, it's like Onioseminum all those years ago. No matter how many times I say it, I almost tripped myself up.
I remember our late friend Tony Gear always had problems with certain names, so I always had to help him out on that one more than once.
It's a brain trust, this girls basketball community. Why are we so smart? Because we pool our resources together. 4-0 the score in favor of Visitation. Visitation in the Tri-Metro still, I believe. Yes, they are. Holy Angels and De La Salle are the names to watch in that conference. Rockford struggling in the early going. Wills through traffic. Can't quite put it in. But Visitation feasting on second chance opportunities. Catherine Bryant with the layup. And the Blazers lead 6-0. Visitation, they went 9-8 last year, and Rockford went 15-5. So these were two schools that had solid years. Maybe not breakout ones like you saw at a Providence Academy, for example.
Yeah.
But these two were not slouches. They won their fair share of games. And Faith Johnson-Patterson knows all about this. Progress is sometimes incremental.
Right. One too many steps earlier by Samantha Willis on that one.
Well, De La Salle comes to mind, although that was a higher bar, admittedly. Her first year, De La Salle made it all the way to the semis in 3A. The next year, they won their first of 3 in a row with Alina Starr and Tyshana Johnson. That was quite the duo.
Oh, I tell you what, those were some teams, weren't they?
And then one of her proteges, Tanisha Scott, took over, won a state championship. So Faith was telling me one of the coaches from last year said, I hope to beat you in a game, and Faith, as modest as she is, said, I hope your bar is higher than that. She's been around enough times where I get it, you know, like I'm sure she's aware of the name recognition. I know you and I are happy to see her on the bench. But Faith has been doing this for a long time. Brian couldn't get the layup there. This is Sather with the skip to Gronke.
Ooh.
3 almost went in. Houghton couldn't get the putback.
Rockford unable to take that lid off the basket in their first 4 minutes or so, Mike.
High-low play. Wills had trouble handling the pass. Slaywood missed the 3. And a foul on Caroline Fenlon. Visitation looking a little different today as far as the starters are concerned, but there is a valid reason for that. And I say that just as Olivia Johanns goes in there. Several members of Visitation missed practice because they had to compete in the state swim meet.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And so Faith said, I can't start them yet because they haven't gotten enough practices under them. But I'd say that's a very valid reason to skip practice to compete in state. And you know how I am. You know how I feel about multi-sport athletes. It all.
Yeah, I think with your smaller schools, it's always amazing to see the number of multi-sport athletes.
Mayor Lutheran, we'll be seeing them later. They're bringing over most of the volleyball team that won state this year in Class A.
Oof.
And there actually are a few swimming and basketball crossovers, past and present.
Yeah.
Liza Carlin comes to mind.
Yep.
Out of Stillwater. So if you're worried about Visitation and why did so many kids skip practice, don't worry. They just had to take care of other state commitments. And you know what? For the girls that competed in swim, as Johanns missed the floater, you get to go to the U of M. That's a pretty good deal. Rockford getting a couple of second chances here. Still have yet to get on the scoreboard.
Well, here we are at the 12:46 mark of this first half, and you don't exactly need an abacus to keep track of the score in this one.
Nor a calculator.
No.
These two schools, maybe not quite at the level of Hutchinson and Providence Academy yet, but again, with Faith Johnson-Patterson, keep in mind Visitation doesn't have a lot of history in recent memory.
No.
But there was a lot of optimism when I spoke with Margaret Slaywin, one of the tournament directors, with her daughter, Ellen, in that roster, and they said playing for a coach like Faith has given them a rejuvenation of sorts, because they like what she's done with the program. And you talk to all of the Division I athletes she has produced, going from Tamara Moore to Brianna Edwards, Alina Starr. I would be here all day to try to come up with a full list, but I'm friends with some of them, and they all spoke highly of their time. In fact, Tisa Mitchell, a good friend of mine, she coaches with Cretin-Durham Hall. Even though Tisa is close to 40, still can't call Faith by her name, so you still coach. That never dies.
Yeah, that's good.
Even though Tisa is a coach herself.
Yep.
Part of the staff at Cretin-Durham Hall with Crystal Flint, and Brianna Edwards, another North product.
Yep.
And there is Olivia Johanns with the first bucket. Rockford finally gets on the board. Riley Larson scores. Visitation on the run. Fenland O'Brien for two.
Reaching foul on Fenland that time. That's her second, too.
Rockford trailing 10-2. (10-2) the score. Had to address a minor technical deal. (11:31) to go.
I think that one's going to go on Johanns. So the fouls now starting to pile up on this Visitation team.
And this may be an example of what you spoke of earlier, those first game jitters.
Yeah.
Remember, Visitation, they're still getting up to speed with several of their athletes coming over from the state swim meet. Rockford missing the three. That was Houghton.
Oh, wow. What a recovery there by Kasia Cady.
Kasia Cady, number 12. Rockford is located west of Plymouth in the Wright County. And going back to our friend Tony, if he were here, he probably would have thrown in a couple references to the Rockford files. Especially in my direction.
Yeah.
Ellen Slaywin. Works through traffic and scores. Rockford looking for the answer. They don't get it from three-point range. Second chance bucket, though, for Julia Houghton. I didn't see who got the offensive rebound, but Rockford doing their best to hang with them. Slaywin steps into a three. Three on the way for the Rockets. Larson couldn't knock it down, but an O-board and then a double dribble call on Kasia Katie. Rockford, one of the new teams in this Twin Cities Thanksgiving tip-off. Again, multiple courts available with St. Thomas Academy now being the host site. I know you were bummed that we couldn't go back to Schoenecker Arena in St. Thomas.
Yeah.
But rules are rules, and with St. Thomas now D1 and offering scholarships.
I tell you, the MIAC already seems so much different without St. Thomas a part of it.
You could say the same about the Summit League, which St. Thomas is now a part of.
Yeah.
Larson blocked by Wills. Blazers lead 12-4.
Talk about somebody who's got length, and that's Wills. She showed that with that block.
And she was tabbed as a player to watch by the girls basketball publications. Full disclosure, I'm a staffer for one of them, Junior All-Star, but Eric handles more of the rankings and things like that. But Prep Girls Hoops and Grant McGinnis, he puts in a lot of time and effort as well. And they said number 24, it's going to be someone to watch for Visitation.
Johanns with a block on that one and the steal.
Wills to Bryan. Here's Johanns, up, too strong. Rebound, put back for Bryan. And a timeout for Rockford. Alice Nelson in the game for the Blazers. Timeout Rockford, and they are keeping track of them on the board now. It looks, okay, no, that was fouls. And we did a few of those. So what can we tell you about these two teams? Rockford picked up a 1,000-point score last season in Sydney Manthana. And Robrin, one of the more consistent figures, she averaged 10 points, 10 rebounds a game. Robron, by the way, enjoys, or loves specifically, brown fluffy cows and Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee. Brown fluffy cows as opposed to brown flat cow. I like brown fluffy cows. Also competes in soccer and track and field in Rockford. Following the timeout, Visitation with a 14-4 lead. Rockford hoping their outside game starts clicking, and Julia Houghton will certainly help the cause with that three-pointer.
Much needed three for that Rockford team too. Good steal there. Emma Sather getting...
Nelson too long on the baseline J.
Boom.
Driving kick to Emma Sather for three. Riley Larson with the dime, and Sather gets on the board. Just like that, Rockford makes it a 4-point game.
Boy, they were staring at a 10-point deficit here just not too long ago.
The three ball can do that. Wills steps into one, buries it.
You wouldn't think of Wills necessarily as a three-point threat, but when you can have one of your forwards or post players have that ability to do that.
As we noted in the last game, though, three-point shooting, such a crucial element. If you want to compete in basketball and do well,
look what Maria Counts did.
It would be wise to have a three-point stroke. Johanns broke free of her coverage. I don't know if she recognized that a defender had tumbled.
I that's what I was thinking too.
Turned around and said, "Oh, I'm open. I'll take it." And she did for 2. That's going to be a foul on Wills. And that will send Michaela Gronke to the line for 2.
It's a tough move by Gronke there. She was really in the land of giants. She gets a couple free throw shots out of it, though.
Gronke listed at 5'6". Enjoys reading, learning new instruments. Naturally, she's in the high school band at Rockford, also plays softball. Missed both free throws. Three ball, corner pocket for Alice Nelson.
Just like that, lead is up to 12 now.
Well, Visitation, early in the game, they were working their way inside. Now they're knocking down shots from the outside. Gronke over to Larson.
I think that's going to go on Wills there. She was a little too aggressive with that. Only her first.
Blazers out of fouls to give. Notice the atmosphere a little more tranquil compared to the last game.
Yeah.
We've got the press box. We've got this side of the bleachers almost all to ourselves. But I do see Khalid El-Amin in attendance. Khalid, of course, a Minneapolis North graduate. He was a student when Faith was a coach there, and Gronke missed the 3. Kasha Katie stepped on the line before she tried to save the ball, and that's why it was called out. It looked like Gronke forced that 3 a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
It didn't look like she was completely comfortable with that shot selection, but a long way to go. 6:23 left in the first half. Khalid, by the way, the head coach for St. Thomas Academy boys basketball. You probably know his story. Winning a championship at UConn.
Yep.
That inbound pass hit the backboard, so we'll give the ball to Rockford. And all Visitation can do is shake it off.
You don't see that happen very often.
No, but that might be a pass they want back. That's okay, though. Johanns will get the steal.
Some miscommunication there. Oh, what a play.
Kasha
Katie getting that. Very alert defensive play.
That's why they tell players never give up on a play, because when you go past somebody, it means one thing: the defender's behind you. And you can catch an unsuspecting player. Slaywin says, "I'll see your steal."
There she is again.
Kasha Katie, a defensive pest here these last couple of plays.
I tell you what, those are the things that don't show up in the stat sheets. But her hustle is really being big value here for this Rockford team, already down by 12 here with just about 5.5 left in this first half.
Some coaches do tabulate deflections. Cheryl Reed, perhaps the most famous of them. Johanns off the feed from Wills. Johanns. Visitation, they've opened up a 14-point lead. It's been slow and steady, but Samantha Wills attacked the lane and got 2 points out of it.
She's got an extremely strong first step.
Visitation, they lead by 16, hoping to extend it. Slaywin for 3. Wills almost got the save. Samantha Wills is proving how dynamic she is. Nice step-through move, but too strong for Robrin. Wills beating Johanns.
You know, we saw down there at the other end when Robron had that opportunity. Instead of taking the ball right to the hole, she lost a split second when she put the ball on the floor. And that cost her. As our late friend Tony Gear would always say, the ball does have air in it.
Rockford calling timeout, 4:12 left in the first half, and something else he pointed out, and you can see this sometimes too, when you get a touch pass like that,
yeah,
if you bring the ball down, even for a split second, that gives the defense time to react.
Exactly.
Rockford 15-5 last year, Visitation 9-8. And Wills leading the way, 9 points. Wills also competes in volleyball and golf at Visitation. Also enjoys water activities, water skiing and tubing in particular. Being out on the water at the lakes, tell you what, probably a great way to socially distance yourself too. If,
yeah.
If we have to go back to that again.
Yeah.
Just go to the lake and
there you go.
Silo yourself out there. I'll tell you what, I don't know how many games I'll get to cover this year. We've got a new variant to keep an eye on, but I do enjoy the breakdown book, and at least I'll get to use it for a few games.
Yeah.
I bought a copy last year, and it sat unused outside of some podcasts that I taped. Rockford trying to work their way back. They look like they found a groove when they hit a couple of threes in succession, but that's been it.
Yeah, I know. They had it down to that deficit down to 4 points at 14-10. Since then, it's been a 12-0 blitz by this visitation team.
Blitz fire?
Something like that.
Did you say blitz fire?
No, I said blitz.
Blitz. Okay. I thought we had a new compound word in there. Well, that run now goes to 14-0.
Don't put words in my mouth now.
Johanns with the dime, making Guerin, or Johanns with the bucket, making Guerin with the dime. A 14-0 blitzkrieg by Visitation.
You can use that word too.
Oh, you said blitzkrieg. I thought you said blitz fire. It's a blitz nonetheless, and Visitation hoping to add to it. Won't be able to there. Julia Houghton comes up with a pick. Sather inside, and Rockford will shoot free throws. Robrin to the line for 2. Robrin, the 3-sport athlete, Also participates in the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, leader of that program at Rockford. 5'11" senior.
Missed them both.
And Rockford 0 for 4 at the line. They've been stuck on a scoring drought. Visitation on a 14-0 run. Slaywin missed the layup. Robrin has it. And they finally end the scoring drought on the second chance opportunity. Sather with that backdoor skip to Robrin for 2. Visitation can't score there. Rockford with another stop. This is what they're looking for, but they almost cough it up on a half-court set miscue. They do recover, though. Robrin used up her dribble. Three on the way. Offensive rebound, and the long 2 goes in for number 24.
Caitlin Elderts.
Caitlin Elderts, and
that was some good patience.
I apologize if I didn't get the name right.
That was some good patience displayed there by Rockford on the offensive end.
Well, and they've scored here in the last couple of possessions, and that's key. Johanns inside. Off the feed from Slaywin.
Oh, wow.
And that was Megan Guerin with the steal. Slaywin trying to get the finish, comes up strong. Less than a minute to go in the first half. Larson with the skip, and Sather with the baseline jumper. And a quick stoppage, substitution timeout. Okay, so it wasn't the reason we had the substitution in officials timeout.
Yeah.
That's what it was, because I'm going, I've never have seen a substitution.
Oh, what
and
a
how about Samantha
stroke.
Wills? I've seen a step back jumper a couple of times, and Samantha Wills knocked it down from the elbow. I was almost confused by that substitution deal. But we play on. Visitation with a 32-16 lead. Now, do they look as polished or poised as some of those top 3A teams? Not yet. But having someone like Wills who can serve as your nucleus, you also have a senior in Johanns, so you've got a young gun and an experienced veteran. They can serve as the building blocks. That's going to be a 5-second call on Rockford. Someone like Wills.
And not much going right for this.
You can build a program around her, and Faith, well, she knows something about that. Her first year, or first couple years coaching, she got to work with Tamara Moore. Johanns with the kick out to Slaywin for 3. Off the window and
off
in.
The glass. I think I heard her call that too.
The backboard's there for a reason. It can be your friend. Rockford won't beat the buzzer. It was a 4-point game. Visitation ended the first half on a 21-6 run. They lead 35-16.
Yeah. Not a lot went right for Rockford in the last 6 or 7 minutes after they managed to get that deficit whittled down to 4.
And plenty went right for Visitation.
Yes.
We will take a break, and thanks to Terry for signaling that we were on camera. Alex, look behind you.
Oh yeah.
I want all the fans to see that you're with us. We're not calling this remotely. We're not behind some computer. But we will be back to give you the second half when we return. Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves. Holloman, good if it goes. Yes! Game winners. James, she's in trouble. Finds James. Toss shot! It goes in! And everything in between. Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. That put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching. Mike Peden and Alex Nagel back with you at Schoberg-Flynn Arena as we continue coverage of the Twin Cities Thanksgiving tip-off. Full day of games here at St. Thomas Academy. Visitation ending the first half on a 21-6 run. They lead 35-16 over Rockford. As we start the second half, Alex, Samantha Wills, 11 points. Olivia Johanns, 10 points. Olivia will start once she gets her legs under her for basketball. But I was impressed with Samantha Wills. Mike, the parent of one of the Visitation athletes, told me that she's getting some college looks. That she's got a ways to go, but she's got some potential, as we've seen in that first half.
You can already see the skill set that she's developing. She's going to be a very good player for this Visitation team, no doubt about it, and Johanns isn't too far behind either.
Well, Johanns is a senior, Wills is the freshman.
Yeah.
So Wills has more upside in the sense that she's got a few more years. And if there's anyone who knows how to guide someone through the process, it's Faith Johnson-Patterson, because I'm sure she's fielded numbers and dozens and hundreds. She's fielded a lot of calls in her life when it comes to recruiting her players.
And that's just kind of been the story for Rockford, that possession, this whole game, Mike.
Rockford, they hit a couple of threes, got within 4, and you thought they might have something in the tank. They might have gotten over those jitters, and then they went on a lengthy scoring drought, enough for Visitation to pull away. And Rockford elects for the dead ball rebound. I guess Gronke wasn't sure, so.
Yeah. Smart play.
If you're going to get the ball, yeah. One less rebound on the stat sheet, but if you're not sure, it's like, all right. Don't do something silly.
Oh.
There's the length of Wills again. Another one of your Northwest Suburban teams will play Anoka and Tartan.
Yep.
Tartan looking to rebuild, and Anoka trying to move forward as well. That was close. It's a bummer for Wills, because if she didn't make contact, she would have had the block, but instead, Kasia Katie will go to the line to shoot.
I like watching that Kasia Katie. She's a real scrapper. You know, she gets involved. She tries to make things happen. She's fun to watch.
"28 teams in this field." That's something they couldn't do at St. Thomas, at Schonecker, because they have multiple courts. So you have Schoberg-Flynn Arena, and then you have the old competition court that was the home for St. Thomas Academy. And
Been a tough day from the charity stripe for this Rockford team, too.
You want to know how tough? Rockford is 0 of 6. And if you're shooting overs, that's not going to help much. Wills for 3. Swish. Ooh. Johanns with the dime. From the elbow. Robrand can't hit it. Blazers looking to run. Couldn't quite get set up. MS Sather with the steal. Sather will
nice
take it herself
and
draw the foul.
And the end one. You like to see this kind of spunk, this kind of effort given despite the deficit they're facing.
Like we said in the last game, this is game 1 out of a possible 32. You're not going to win any titles. You're not going to lose any titles today. So this is a perfect way to figure out what you need. Another miss at the line, but Rockford does get the offensive rebound. And then Visitation swipes the ball. The tip from Johanns, and Wills will get credit for the steal. Quick triangle, Slaywin. Out to Wills. Hesitation move, and okay. From up here, I thought that was just a deflection on the part of Robrand, but the official must have saw some contact. And I say that because it's a different vantage point from up here compared to being down there. So Wills will shoot 2. And I can't go any further without giving a shout out to one of the officials, Matt Olive, who is quite the bowler. He competes in Monday leagues every week.
Okay. All right.
He loves the game. He talks to a lot of parents and players, and so officiating is how he stays connected. Visitation got the offensive rebound. Wills fed it to Johanns, and Johanns went inside for 2. Wills and Johanns, 14 and 12, consistent, respectively. Sather crossed the backcourt line, but you can do that off an inbound.
Yes. I had to think about that for a second, too, but
it's the first game of the year, so there might be some newcomers. There are folks who might not remember how this game works, given the limited nature of the season a year ago. And that was tough on everybody. I don't know what will happen this season. Again, we have Omicron. We'll have to see what happens there, but I know it was tough for media.
Right.
Every school had a different interpretation of capacity limits.
Right.
And it's like, you know what? I'm not going to make a stink about that, but some folks weren't able to get in, others could, and you just try to make the most out of it. I do know we're here, and I don't know what normal looks like anymore, but at least you don't have to worry about limits.
Johanns
Wills
again.
and Johanns don't have any limits in terms of their synchronicity. Johanns up to 14. Baseline jumper, swish. Caitlin Alderts. Rockford will call another timeout, 43-20.
I was just glancing at this Rockford coaching staff. I see one familiar name on there, Brooke Lemke, who played her college ball at Gustavus.
And Visitation, it's been a family affair for years, Faith and John Patterson. No different at De La Salle, Minneapolis North. One of her longtime associates, a good friend of mine, lives out in the D.C. area now, Liesl von Steinberg. Had a daughter who I think if they had stayed, and it was a career move, but if they had stayed, I think Daria would have made a name for herself in Minnesota high school ball. But we'll never know. But she's a good friend of mine. I don't know if she still tunes into the games or not, but happy to see a lot of faces. And again, I don't know what it will look like or what will happen, but I can tell you we'll do our best to cover games as long as we can. Wills almost got another one off the glass and in. And a dead ball rebound to the Rockets. They trail 43-20.
You know, the thing with Wills is that you can see that there's a ton of talent there, a ton of ability, but there's also at the same time, I think, a few things she needs to learn as well. And once she does, and
I think
expands her skills and gets more confident, gets a little stronger, she'll be a great player.
I think the word you're looking for is potential.
Potential. Thank you for summing up my rant in one, just one quaint word. I appreciate. I'm glad you did that.
I found that delayed reaction amusing. It was about a good 5 seconds until you put that together. You can tell it's been a couple of years since our last game.
Yeah,
we're working.
I know.
We got to shake off our cobwebs.
I know.
But with Wills, I say potential. And I think of someone like Avanten Sayek in Cordy Academy.
Right.
When you have someone who has that skill set and maybe is a step above everyone else, it can take some time for the other players to catch up.
Right.
That's not to suggest that Visitation's players aren't any good. Remember, several swimming crossovers had to delay their season because of state swim commitments. But when you have a dynamic playmaker who's ahead of everyone else, it can take a little while for that to manifest.
Right.
Well, Concordia Academy, for example, got to state. They lost in the quarterfinals. That was the tournament that was canceled at the onset of the pandemic. But after Avanten Sai was there a couple of years and her teammates got familiar with her skill set, they were able to complement her more effectively, and Concordia made their first state appearance in school history in girls basketball. And Avanten Sai had left the school as the all-time leading scorer. For someone like Wills, she could create a similar effect. She's a freshman, and the longer those faces are around as Johanns scores again off the mid-range hook, but the longer the underclassmen get to work with someone like Mills, I think the more in tune they'll be with her tendencies.
Yep.
And they'll get better as a result, too.
Right.
It takes a while. Again, this isn't like Faith coming into De La Salle that already had an established program. Visitation, you're building from the ground up.
Yep.
Minneapolis North, she had Tamara Moore and Mari Horton, both Miss Basketball recipients. De La Salle went to state 4 years in a row, won 3. Faith isn't worried about validation, of course. She's got a lot of accolades. And Visitation works their way inside. Catherine Bryan scores. But when you take over a program like Visitation that doesn't have the history that North or De La Salle did, there's a little more patience involved. And Faith Johnson-Patterson, we know about her coaching acumen. No stranger as a player either. Played her college ball at Wisconsin.
Oh, she played? I didn't know that.
Or at least, if my memory is correct, Faith will probably watch this and send me a correction if that is wrong. Because I do not have an ego about myself.
Okay. All right.
Went to Minneapolis Marshall, if I'm correct, and I know she did go to Wisconsin. I believe she played there, which is also where Tamara Moore went to college. Rockford hoping to make some connections. Michaela Gronke drains the 3. Let's see if this can get Rockford on a run. They're down by 24, 47-23, so I don't know if a win is in reach, but Try to get a run, something to build your confidence because they have another game tomorrow and a whole season to go. 3 ball. Fenlon couldn't hit from the corner. Another element unique to Visitation. Once the swimming crossovers get some more practices in and get their basketball legs under them, you could see them make a run. The Tri-Metro got a little bit smaller this year. St. Croix Lutheran left and joined the Skyline, but Visitation, they'll have plenty of chances to pick up some wins. Bit of a passing error there. Wills will touch it to get the backcourt call.
This Visitation team is not going to be a team that you're going to want to sleep on come section time. They can be a real spoiler, a real troublemaker.
Timeout, 10:44. Well, let's talk about that. Their section has a couple of troublemakers in it in De La Salle and Como Park. Como Park moved to Section 3 this year, or I should say De La Salle moved to 3. Como Park stayed there. St. Croix Lutheran went down to 2A, but Como Park and De La Salle are the two teams to watch. Como Park with that senior core, Ronnie Porter, KK Asbury, the small scrappy guards. De La Salle, not quite the team they once were, as the nucleus, some of them left. Keani Lockett to Minnetonka. As I understand, there were some politics at play. And it's unfortunate because I think De La Salle, they still have some talented players, but I think had there not been some power grabs, things like the stuff that you hear about.
Right.
I think De La Salle, we would have been talking about another dynasty with Tanisha Scott, but she's at Roseville and she'll play later today. That being said, De La Salle still has some playmakers in Savannah White and Sydney Brunsway. A lot of folks expect De La Salle and Como Park, if we do have a state tournament, will play each other. I should say, if we have a state tournament, those two would play each other in the section. You're going to have to get through one of those two to make your way in. Michaela Gronke getting a couple of threes to go in.
Lighting it up here in the last few minutes. Nice steal. Ooh, almost. By Mae Weiss.
For a school like Visitation, and Will stepped on the line, I'm sure they would be ecstatic if they could win section, make their way to state. But another goal they might set is, okay, we were 9-8 in a shortened season. Let's see if we can beat that win total. Gronke on a roll, draws the foul off the elbow, Jay. You don't see that often.
Well, I tell you what, it's just good to see this Rockford team still working hard, still fighting hard, looking for any opportunity they can get.
A 9-0 run, all from Michaela Gronke, and that is also the first free throw make for the Rockets in this game. Well, they turned a 27-point deficit to 18. Still a long way to go as far as the margin, 18 points.
And all of a sudden, Visitation getting a little lackadaisical on the offensive end.
They hold the arrow, but you're right, they look a little jittery. And for schools like Providence or Hutchinson, they have the experience and the acumen to get through slumps or when things don't go their way. Visitation is still working their way there. Wills tried to bounce it to Johanns. Ball is loose. Winning the scrum was Bryan. Garand has it. Finds 0-0. Paige Abbott on the escape. Abbott couldn't put it in. Visitation, the all-girls school. If you're wondering about the neighbor setup, St. Thomas Academy, an all-boys school. The two do collaborate on a few occasions, including the Vista Band. Samantha Wills with a step-back J. That doesn't go in. I don't know of any other schools that have that breakdown like that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of camaraderie between the two, but like I said, I think it's fun for these Visitation girls to get a chance to play here.
Right.
For some, for most of us, it's just another floor, but as Catherine Bryant scores on the fast break, sloppy pass. Abbott got it. Wills will feed it to Johanns, and she'll go to the line for two.
It's the miscommunication items such as those that, if they're going to happen, it'd be better that they happen in an early season game such as this. That gives the coaches something they can work on in practice.
Johanns, one of the swimming basketball crossovers, also is the editor of the yearbook. One of her stress relievers is arts and crafts. And her favorite meal, her favorite food, mac and cheese. Johanns gets both free throws. She's up to 18 points. Now, seeing this Visitation team for the first time, can they hang with the Lexicon Park in De La Salle? I'm not sure about that yet.
We don't know.
They have some kinks to work out, as we've seen today, but with Johanns, when she gets a few more practices, she normally starts.
Yeah.
We've seen what she can do. Wills,
we know what
makes
she can
a nice
do.
Compliment. So again, that's how you build a nucleus, and that's how you generate interest. You get those big-time players.
I think the big question marks for Visitation could probably come in the backcourt, don't you think?
That will be a question. Wills collects the rebound. Because Johanns last year averaged 17 points, 13 rebounds. Wills 11 and 7. So down low, they're covered. Can they get that leadership in the backcourt? We'll see. But considering how effervescent people were going back to last year and how these girls got to grow with Faith Johnson-Patterson. If they weren't familiar with their name, I'm sure they've all heard the stories. And you can go back and watch some archives of games at De La Salle that I covered, or even all the way back to Minneapolis North and their state tournament runs. In 98, 99, they won 3 in a row. In 03, 04, 05, Maya Johnson was a centerpiece. Johanns with the block. Maya Johnson and Larea Starr was there for 1 year. Rockford lost it. Robrin lost control of it. Bryan basically ripped it away from her. And Visitation. We'll run another set and feed Johanns once again. 20 points for Olivia. And whether it's off the bench or in the starting lineup, she's done well today.
Oh!
Riley Larson with the fadeaway floater. She'll have a chance at 3. If you're wondering, we're not at the mercy rule threshold. That doesn't come in until 35 or more at this stage of the game. But this game moving at a pretty quick clip. And if you're following us on YouTube, we'll be at the other tip-off event. So Alex and I will be with you again.
That'll be fun tomorrow.
As we have a timeout following the three-point play by Riley Larson. That is the Pat Patterson Thanksgiving tip-off, the one that started it all.
Yep. That's always been a fun tournament over the years to do, Mike.
Well, we've got several games. Lakeville South and Waconia.
Ooh.
St. Michael, Albertville, and Como Park. Como and Hopkins are playing today. In fact, they're going to play each other twice in the span of 3 days. They have a regular season game scheduled for Tuesday. Minnetonka, St. Louis Park. The Orioles look a little different this year.
Yep.
With Salam Meher transferring from Hopkins to St. Louis Park. Minnetonka, of course.
Minnetonka, of course. I mean, that's
the backcourt duo.
Yeah.
Keani Lockett and Desiree Ware. And then Hopkins and Rosemount. Rosemount expected to rebuild somewhat after coming within a point of winning, and Hopkins is going to be on a mission.
I was just captivated by that Rosemount team and their run of the state tournament. That was a fun team to watch.
Beat Centennial in the semifinal, if I recall. And everyone was going about Hopkins-Chaska and how the bracket was structured and saying, well, you're going to have your state championship decided in the semifinals. And that proved not to be the case. Chaska-Rosemount was a competitive game.
Yes, it was.
We say this all the time. Any tournament with single elimination always leaves the door open for surprises.
Yep.
And when every team makes the playoffs, it doesn't happen often, but you do get those low seed sprouts. We'll never forget about Anoka 10 years ago.
Oh. Goodness, I still think a lot about that Section 5 4A title game back in 2008 between Osseo and Centennial, when Centennial was so heavily favored. They were undefeated, and that Osseo team came in and surprised them. Game I'll never forget.
Well, and we got quite the final that year. St. Paul Central and South, two teams we did expect to make the field, as Mills beats the 5-second clock. She'll fire the three-ball corner pocket. Wills, I think I said Mills. It's Wills. Well, she's a freshman. I've got a few years to get that name down.
Yeah.
But Wills up to 17 points following the three-pointer, and we've got a foul on Slaywin. That's going to put Rockford in the bonus. So 1-1 here. Anoka and Tartan will follow this game. And then we'll have our two out-of-town teams, actually three of them in all. Regis is making their first visit here. But Dowling Catholic and La Crosse Aquinas. Dowling Catholic, of course, the alma mater of Caitlin Clark, and La Crosse Aquinas producing a couple of D1s in Lexi Donarski and Courtney Becker. Donarski at Iowa State. Becker and Drake. Kasha Katie making both free throws. Academic at this point, but that gets her on the board. For Rockford, Alex, they've struggled throughout this game with sets and getting shots, things like that, as it looks like Faye Johnson-Patterson's going to pull out her dynamic duo for today. So Wills and Johanns, I think, will end with 20 and 17. For Rockford, not a great first game as far as efficiency goes. What will they look to improve on moving forward?
Well, number one, I mean, you got to work with what you work with. I mean, they're not the biggest team out there, but you got to work with your strengths, and that's going to be in the backcourt for them. You got to be a little more efficient there with your half-court offense when you're passing. It has to be a little more crisp. You have better ball movement. Those are the things that when I look at this Rockford team, that's what I see.
Gronke had that 9-0 run earlier in the half.
Right.
And I feel that's a positive they can highlight.
Yeah.
Where, okay, if we can get a little more efficient, that's something we can build a runaround.
Yep.
We can use her as a spark plug. Visitation with the steal. This is Caroline Fenlon. She will dish it over to Megan Guerin, and Rockford's defense gets back in time for the stop. Four and a half to go. Again, we're not in running time. Riley Larson running to the lane, though. She'll get a three-point play chance.
Three-point play for her.
That puts Larson up to 7. Converted a three-point play earlier. Can't do it here. Yeah, Rockford 4 of 12 from the free throw line. That's something they'll want to clean up. As we get ready for the next game. Going off balance was Robrin. She comes up short. Guerin was poked from behind. Rockford looking to run with it.
I like the fight and I like the intensity of this Rockford team. They don't quit. Body's going everywhere.
Still getting after it. I think that's where if you can clean up the passing game, like on that sequence, when you're in transition like that, you want to get those easy buckets. Of course, we're comparing this game to our previous one, Providence Hutchinson, where those kids have some experience. They made it to state. There's not a lot they have to figure out with each other per se.
Right.
Rockford, Visitation, going through a different process, and every school goes through this. You know, Providence had a few lean years, if you will, between their state tournament runs of 2021 and then the years they went to state under Ray Finley.
Right.
Minneapolis North didn't make it to state every year. It seemed like they did, though.
Yeah.
But every school, I mean, there was that one year, I think 2014, Hopkins didn't make it to state. They were upset by Eden Prairie.
Yep.
So every school has peaks and valleys. I think Visitation has more potential, like you said, to be an upset card because they have a strong front court.
Yep.
Can they find a way to make the backcourt dynamic? That will be their key.
That'll be. And you know, the good thing about it, especially from a Visitation standpoint, you got a lot of time to work on that, Mike.
Visitation called the timeout.
And you know, somebody
had the arrow.
Who's had as much success coaching as Faith Johnson-Patterson has, you know, she can find those solutions.
.329 to go, 56-36. Visitation will lock up the win here. Alex, I want to get your thoughts. I don't know how many games we'll get to cover this year. I keep saying if, or if, barring something weird, and that phrase has a whole new meaning now, but who are some of the teams you're keeping an eye on?
Well, just knowing what I know, particularly of the Northwest Suburban Conference, I mean, Centennial is probably going to be the odds-on favorite there in the Northwest Suburban Conference. I want to keep my eye on Elk River. I really don't know what to expect from Park Center. I really don't.
Well, they have a new coach now.
Yeah, they have a new coach and a new cast of characters.
Yep, Adalia's
so
at Illinois.
So we just don't know what to expect from them, and I think Champlin Park is probably in that same ballpark too.
Yeah, look, they've got that backcourt got deeper this year with Ava Holman transfer.
Yeah, but I think Elk River is going to be a team that you may very well want to keep your eye on.
Fenlon a little short on the layup. Emma Sather
And of course,
scoring on
we know Maple Grove is going to be a very tough team. They always are.
Well, they've got Ari Gordon coming back. Kennedy Click transferred there last year. They've got a solid group. They're in Section 5 now, so they'll have to deal with the likes of Spring Lake Park, Roseville, Park Center. Section 5,
and Spring Lake Park, goodness, what a surprise, what a spoiler they've been over the last 2 or 3 years.
Exactly.
Park Center can tell you all about that.
Yeah, Maple Grove tabbed as the favorite. Again, Champlain Park, with that backcourt, that could be an interesting series.
Yep.
Foul on Visitation, so free throws coming for Aaliyah Robrin. In 2A, I went to the breakdown. They didn't get the preseason rankings up, but in the breakdown book, the 4 riders who submitted their picks in Class 2A were evenly split between Providence and Minnehaha as far as who wins the state title.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling it will come down to those two, but just don't ask me which one. They're both good.
Yep.
We'll see Minnehaha in a couple of weeks. In 3A, Becker looks to be a favorite.
You know, that Becker team's going to be fun to watch. I mean, you've got, granted, you graduated the...
Bankson is at Illinois State now, but you've got a young core.
But you've still got a very young core coming back.
Marn Westeen, affectionately called Marty. Well, Mills is going to finish out the rest of this game. I thought she was going to get a breather, but maybe Faith Johnson-Patterson didn't like what she was seeing out on the floor and trying to steer the ship. Como Park, tabbed as a dark horse. They don't have a lot of height, but they've got scrappy guards, and they've got Ronnie Porter, who made a name for herself in the AAU circuit, dropping 29 in a tournament and getting nearly 1 million views on her highlight reel. "3A is going to be interesting. Como, Becker is up there, Como Park. Benilde St. Margaret's, you figure they have to be in the conversation with Olivia Olson.
Yep.
They were tabbed 3rd in the preseason poll. Olson and Kendall McGee transferred there from Blake. Holy Angels, they surprised us once. Joe Berg won't forget, and admittedly I was one of them when Kaylee Vanderwerf and Destiny Oberg transferred out. Everyone thought maybe their best days are behind them, and then Holy Angels kept on rolling.
Yeah.
Lost a close one with Marshall in the semis last year. Now, Holy Angels did graduate a lot, but they bring back a lot of talent. They also brought in the leading scorer from Crystal Ray Jesuit. She transferred over there.
Okay.
4A, that's a good question.
Yeah, that's...
Hopkins, you figure they'll be a favorite.
Hopkins you think would be, but you just don't
Well, they're
know.
going to be on a mission. They're probably ticked at losing to Chaska in the semis. Chaska, don't count them out either. Kennedy Sanders, one of the most dynamic guards in the state. Mallory Heyer, rock-solid post player. That's going to be a foul and free throws for Rockford here.
Kind of a nasty spill there, but it looks like she's okay. Michaela Grunke.
But I think in 4A, you have to appreciate the potential, because in past years, folks were, and I'm going to be on this hill until I die, seeding the field 1 through 64, because oftentimes Hopkins Wayzata is your state tournament. But
don't sleep on Wayzata either.
Mara Braun's there. They've got some time. But you look at the field this year, St. Michael Albertville, they've got Tessa Johnson back. Minnetonka has the dynamic duo. Section 2 is going to be brutal.
Oh, yeah.
And if St. Michael Albertville, if they can get in the field, we were there a couple years ago when they gave Hopkins a run with Paige Beckers. And you have to think with Tessa Johnson back, they will be a force again.
Yep.
1:48 to go.
Ryan Martin going to his bench now as well.
1:48 to go as we slowly make our way to the end of this one. Not the smoothest of games we've seen, but Samantha Wills, I'm going to get that name down before her career's done, but Samantha Wills and Olivia Johanns. Well, there's Wills with the time.
At least Tony had an excuse. He had problems with the tough names.
Yeah, I don't have that. I'm just a sad excuse of a human being. No ITs.
No. That was
Nelson with
Caitlin Eilderts.
Eilderts. Nelson got the 3 for Visitation. But Wills and Johanns did more than enough. And I think we'll see more fluidity from those two once Johanns gets a few more games and practices under her belt. But again, when you compete in the state swim meet, that's an opportunity you're not going to pass up. And a moment I'm sure she won't forget, getting to swim one more time at the U of M Aquatic Center, and I imagine she'll hope to etch a few more memories in a basketball uniform. Wills will finish with 17 points, most likely, and a few dimes. Well, she'll get one more rebound. No, she wants 2 more, and she will get 2 more.
You know, the one thing I see from Wills already that impresses me is her strong hands. You don't see a lot of young players with strong hands who can grasp that ball, especially when you have to go up in the air for it.
Well, I stand corrected.
Sure,
Wills will finish
again
with 19 points, a few steals. That won't count. And Visitation wins 61-40. Johanns with 20, Wills with 19. Again, Visitation, I think, has a ways to go before they can contend with Como Park and De La Salle, but they've got a strong front court. If they can get some production out of that backcourt, they could be the dark horse you spoke of earlier.
And the best thing, it's still only November.
It's only only game 1. We have at least 25 more to go in the regular season. So Wills with 19, Johanns with 20, Rockford led by Gronke and Sather with 9 each. We'll try to get a word with the front court duo of Wills and Johanns before we wrap it up. This is high school girls basketball. Visitation beats Rockford 61-40. Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves. Holloman, good if it goes. Yes! Game winners. James, she's in trouble. Finds James. Toss shot! It goes in! And everything in between. Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. That put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching. And we're joined by Samantha Wills and Olivia Johanns. Samantha with 19, Olivia with 20. And Samantha, you had 19 points, a consistent effort, but you did a little bit of everything. And at the end, too, even when the game is locked up, you still get after it with rebounds and steals, assists, all of that. So you're one of the younger faces on this team, but you bring back a lot of experience too. So what excites you about this freshman season?
Honestly, it's great to be back again. I got the chance to play last year, and I got a lot of minutes last year. So it feels like I'm kind of a veteran on this team, and I want to bring that veteran energy and work with Liv and our other captains to really take this team far this year. So, yeah, it's great.
And on top of that, going in, you found out you were going to get tutelage from Faith Johnson-Patterson when she got the job. I'm sure you've heard about her history. Maybe you watched some games of hers when you were little on YouTube or going way back. So having someone like her, how has she rejuvenated this program?
She's a great mentor to me. She played point guard in college, so she has a lot to tell me and a lot of skills to kind of bring to me. She just knows the game so well, and she knows not only the game, but how to communicate it to us, and that makes all the difference to me and my teammates.
And one of the Visitation parents is telling me you're already getting some looks from colleges at this early stage. Long way to go, of course, before you have to settle on a school, but to get the kind of recognition early, what does that say about your development, and how does that motivate you to move forward?
honestly, I'm just really blessed that colleges are looking at me, and it really motivates me to keep working, to keep getting more looks from colleges, and just knowing that someone's seeing my game and I want to improve for them. So, yeah.
And what is your approach? Because you and Olivia make a strong front court duo, but again, we saw you do a little bit of everything. So what do you attribute to your versatility?
Honestly, I just try and do everything and try to get rebounds, try to pass, try to score. I want to be everything on the court and help my teammates out in any way that I can.
And someone who can help is Olivia. Olivia, you had a late start owing to state swim commitments, which I would consider a valid excuse to miss practice. So how did you perform at state swim?
Well, really exciting. Our team won state for the 8th consecutive time, and I was a 3-time All-State placer. So, that's so much hard work and everything, and I'm really, glad that our coach was able to give me that time to finish this season, and now I'm back, and I'm putting full energy into this team right now.
Well, when you win 8 in a row, I mean, you can't – you got to – I mean, you win 8 in a row, I think, yeah, your swim coach probably wants to make sure it's you're probably one of the reasons we won it, right?
Yes, it's a big group effort, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. It was so fun.
So you go off that high. What was your turnaround like? Because, again, you had the late start, but whether it's volleyball or swim, you're coming off the high of winning a state championship, and now you've got to refocus, get back out to basketball, and do so a little later than the others. So what was that transition like?
Well, I made sure, because I set goals for myself of every season, and for that transition of being at such a high, I wanted to carry it into this team, into we're trying at Viz, we're trying to change the narrative of our team and what we are as a basketball program. And I want to give that winner's mentality that I had last weekend and really implement it into our team and show them what we need to do in order to be successful.
I do have to ask you, though, have you ever considered challenging your basketball teammates to a swim-off if there's ever any conflicts or arguments that have to be settled? I think, Olivia, you'd have the edge.
Yeah. Oh. By a lot. Yeah, I would be, no. Just kidding. Yeah, maybe a pool party or something. I'll just I'll show my swim moves. Yeah.
Samantha, I take it you would not turn in times as quickly as Olivia.
No, I think I'd be a few, pools behind her, maybe 5 or 6, I don't know.
So she runs the 500, and Olivia would be done in 5 minutes, and you'd be still...
I'd be into next week. It'll be a while till I finish.
Well, I'm sure Olivia would give you some tips if you decide to take up swimming, because she's graduating, so someone has to take over and help Visitation win a 9th one, right?
I don't think that's going to be me, but she can teach me anything. I'll go for it,
We'll do some CrossFit. You got it, Sam. You got it.
Well, Liv, I do want to ask you about your performance. You'll start as you get more practices and games under your belt, but even so, you came in, put up 20 points, and helped Visitation pull away that big run, 21-6 to end the first half, a big part of it. So to come in and know you can contribute right away, even when you don't get a full week of practice the way your teammates did, what does that say about your skill set?
I think that's a tough question. Well, I was a little bummed, not starting and everything, but I'm, as of everyone, I have to prove myself, and every game I go out and I'm giving it my all, and to be able to switch from sports like that, I'm really lucky I'm able to do that, because I think that's a very tough, two opposite sports, and I don't know, I've just been playing for a really long time, and I don't hold myself to I just want to perform my best every game. So.
And are you considering any colleges, or what comes next since you graduate next spring?
Yeah, I'm debating on if I want to swim or not. I'm visiting some schools. Yeah, it's definitely something I want to do in the future.
Or maybe you could do both.
Yeah.
Alex might have some MIAC schools he could recommend if you're still thinking about it. But I mean, if you can win state titles in swimming and do what you do in basketball, I think you could fit both in the program.
I mean, that would be an optimal decision. I don't know, I love both of these sports with so much of my heart, and I actually think that would be a good idea.
You know what? Or maybe water polo, because that is a little bit of both.
Oh, yeah. Whoa, I never thought about that. Could become a
I'd come to all your games. Are they games or?
It's an Olympic sport too, so you've already won a gold medal. Why not add a few more?
I mean, it wouldn't be bad.
Well, the future is bright and plentiful for Olivia. I think that's the takeaway from this conversation. Before we go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Hi, Uncle Nate, if you're watching. Hey.
Hi, Mom and Dad. Luke and Sam. Those are my brothers. My grandma. Hi, Grandma Nanky. Okay, that's it.
I think we covered just about everyone and their families.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, yes, Samantha Wills and Olivia Johanns, the state champion swimmer, and Samantha will hopefully add a state championship to her resume, but even if you don't, thanks for stopping by. It was fun to see you play, and I wish nothing but success as you continue your season.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's Samantha Wills and Olivia Johanns, and that wraps up our coverage from this game. More coverage from the Twin Cities Thanksgiving tip-off is coming your way.